But probably the biggest game of the week, Buffalo Bills at the Kansas City Chiefs. It's Sunday Night Football. The Chiefs are favored by 2.5. If you're looking at the PFF Power Rankings, PFF.com, remember, Power Rankings are about how good is the team, not like, oh, give me the 4-0 team and then the 3-1s and then the 2-2s. We don't do it that way because we need more data than just 4 weeks. The Power Rankings have the Chiefs first and the Bills third.
Yeah.
So it's a battle of the number 1 and number 3 teams, the 2 top teams in the AFC per the PFF Power Rankings.
It is. This is a really interesting game. Obviously, rematch of the AFC Championship game, potential preview of this year's AFC Championship game, even though each team has kind of stumbled a little bit at some point. Buffalo dropping that Week 1 game, Kansas City stumbling a couple of times. But I think Kansas City's offense has only been slowed down this season by Kansas City's offense. Their turnovers have been the only thing that have cost them at all. Buffalo's defense, statistically, is really good right now, but what happens when they face the Chiefs? Like, this is a whole different animal coming, or not coming to town, staying in town. Whole different animal that you're facing this week. So to me, I don't think they're going to be slowing down the Chiefs' offense much at all. So it really, all the focus becomes on, can Josh Allen and the Buffalo offense keep pace? Like, this has shootout written all over it, because I just don't think that Kansas City's offense has actually been anything other than incredible outside of turnovers.
You don't think they're slowing them down at all?
I mean, not relative to anybody else. Like, how
the Bills,
how much do you think they're slowing them down?
Again, if you're a longtime listener here, this is familiar territory. Defense tends to fluctuate a little bit. It's tough to just go say, this defense is great, therefore they'll always be great. It's often dictated by who you play. The Bills have been the best defense in the league this year. They've got the highest coverage grade. Their coverage grade on 20-plus yard throws is 90. No one else in the league is over 65. I mean, it's absurd.
Right.
They're the only team in the league that has not given up a pass of 20-plus yards in the air yet this season.
Right, but on the other hand, how many of the quarterbacks they face are even capable of throwing the ball 20 yards in the air?
That's what I'm going to go and break down.
Okay.
You've got Big Ben in Week 1. You have a couple plays of Tua, and then mostly Jacoby Brissett, who checked the heck down quite a bit.
Careful now.
Washington football team.
Lifelong Jacoby Brissett fan over here.
You're also a lifelong Taylor Heineke fan.
Yep.
So 2 of your favorite quarterbacks face the Bills, so it's pretty good.
Well,
and then your least favorite quarterback, Davis Mills, in a rainstorm.
Yes.
And that's a big part of, the Bills' coverage grade.
Right,
there.
this is my point. Like, look at those 4 guys and then compare that and contrast it with Patrick Mahomes over here leading the Chiefs' offense. Like, the Bills, they are the defensive equivalent of the Carolina Panthers last week, the Denver Broncos last week. It's like, okay, sure, everything looks fine. On the other hand, who have you played?
Yeah, it's a fair question. And our guy Timo, part of the R&D team over here, he had a tweet the other day that kind of sums up the NFL. The Chiefs have the number 32 ranked defense, depending on, in a lot of ways, the way you want to look at it. I mean, I don't know where they are in yards, but I think every way you break it down, the Chiefs are among the worst, right? But the Chiefs are still number 1 in our power rankings because offense dictates the action, right? And there's a history. First off, there's a history of their defense being a little bit better than they've been now with the same players.
And
but there's a history of Kansas City's offensive success.
And they face a real gauntlet of offenses.
They have.
Like, if anything, so this is a game where Buffalo's defense is being skewed positive by the fact that they haven't played anybody, and Kansas City's defense is being skewed negative by the fact that they've played a lot of pretty good offenses.
But they've still been extremely efficient.
Yes.
Patrick Mahomes, grade-wise, isn't outstanding yet. He's number 11 in our grade so far, but he still has just your traditional numbers, 119.6 passer rating, in part because you've got your schemed-up touchdowns and all. He's got 14 touchdowns. No one else has more than 11, right? I mean, they're still moving the ball quite a bit. I think it's a matter of, again, this year Mahomes has 4 interceptions. Last year he had 1 through Week 10. It's those couple turnovers. But that's a Chiefs game, right? It's like if you can make a stop or 2 or 3, you're in the game potentially. And what Buffalo did last year, let's go back to their game last year because we cited this quite a bit. Remember last year the Chiefs ran for over 200 yards against the Bills. They played around the same time of the season. And the Bills were playing light box and really inviting the Chiefs to run, which is a pretty common strategy against pass-first teams. Are we going to see that again? Because I think the Chiefs, they kept them under 30. The Bills just didn't score enough points in that game. But that was the strategy, right? It was the old Bill Belichick, Thurman Thomas thing. If Thurman gets 100 yards, we're going to win this game. The Giants, the Super Bowl in 1990-91. Will the Bills play this the same way?
I think it should be. That should be their strategy. Like minimize the damage that Mahomes is doing by inviting them to hand the ball off as many times as humanly possible, and then trying to keep that, at 6 yards a carry as opposed to 8.
Yeah, I mean, the issue was Josh Allen had one of his worst games. They lost 26-17, but holding the Chiefs to 26 is great. And Mahomes dropped back 34 times. He had a really, he had an efficient game. It was a short pass game, and he averaged 6.5 yards. You like seeing we have a TV over there.
Oh, we do.
Average depth of target was 6.5. I mean, it really was make the Chiefs earn it, make them run it. And again, the strategy there is not like we want to give up 7 yards per carry. It's just take your chances that we can make a stop here and there, that we can use fewer guys in the box and have a 2-yard stop here and there and a 2-yard stop here and there, put them in 3rd and long, and just make them run their own clock. Instead of, you're talking about the Ravens, run clock and keep it away from the Chiefs. Make the Chiefs run their own clock and shorten the game that way. But the Bills this year have to be better on offense.
Right. And also, so you don't want to give up 7 yards per carry, but because of just in very broad brush strokes terms, you get up to 7 yards a carry before it's as efficient as the passing game. Like Mahomes right now is averaging 8.5 yards per attempt.
Right. And he never gets sacked, so you're not getting a lot of those negative plays in there.
So you can give up a lot on the ground in terms of averages before you get anywhere near what they're averaging in the pass game. So yeah, you don't want to give up 7 yards per carry. On the other hand, if you did and they ran the ball every single time, it would still be, just in average terms, less efficient or less productive than if they were passing the ball every single time. Now, obviously, it doesn't break down that way because of the way it runs for 0 yards and then 28 and all those kinds of things. But this is the point, that the run game is significantly less efficient than the passing game. So particularly for a team like Kansas City. So if you can trap them into or sucker them into skewing more in that direction, you are making that offense less efficient, even if you are giving up more than you would typically give up.
So I don't believe that defense doesn't matter the way it's been cited by people over here. Again, the point there is that when you have a team like the Bills, expect regression, expect them to be a little bit worse. I do think the Bills, again, they have not given up a pass beyond 20 yards. I do think that's part of the Bills' DNA. It wasn't great last year, but since Sean McDermott has been here, they have 3 top 10 finishes in PFF coverage grade. Last year was not nearly as good. They do generally do a good job of playing that 4-high-ish type of shell and keeping things underneath. I think it's going to require one of those patient games by the Chiefs. On the other hand, on the other side of the ball, the Chiefs, just grading-wise, it is their second worst overall grade, PFF grade, their defense. Worst run defense. Bottom 10 coverage grade. Can they stop Josh Allen this year? Because their defense looked better last year. Can they stop Josh Allen? Are we looking at a shootout here?
Yeah, I think that's the big question. The Bills defense does a good job of keeping things in front of them. On the other hand, in the AFC Championship game, Tyreek Hill had a 71-yarder. I would be reasonably confident that the Chiefs will get a play above 20 yards on them.
By the way, I've been citing their first matchup too much. From last year. Their regular season matchup is what I've been citing the most part. Of course, the Chiefs did a much better job in their second matchup in the AFC Championship, and it wasn't really a close game. But.
To me, it's all about Josh Allen, the Bills' offense. I do think that the Kansas City's offense is going to fairly well run or dominate the Bills' defense because they do it to everybody. And if they don't turn the ball over a ton, they're going to put up a ton of yards, ton of points. And then it's a case of can Josh Allen and the Bills offense match them? And that's the game.
So what do you think?
Kansas City. They're only favored by 2.5. I hammer that. They're going to win. They're going to win by more than 2.5. It's not going to be that close.
Do you think there's any signal in the Bills defense being this good?
This good? No. Good, sure.
Because if they can limit Kansas City to the 20s.
I mean, we only have them, they are ranked 5th in terms of PFF's ELO rankings for a defense, given the teams that they face. They are a good defense. They are top 10. They're not good enough to stop an offense like the Chiefs because the best defenses in the NFL aren't good enough to stop the Chiefs. We are going to see a version of that Denver game, the Carolina game, where we're going to see how powerful strength of competition is.
Yeah,
you're going from Davis Mills to Patrick Mahomes.
I think I'm getting suckered in. I think the Bills are going to I think they're going to surprise some people, even in Kansas City on Sunday night.
Okay.
Like
Well, you Josh Allen apologist now.
I am.
You should have worn the jersey today.
I should have. I wore it yesterday. I wore the Josh Allen jersey yesterday. So I'm going to go the Bills to cover the 2.5. I think they might even pull the upset here.
Might? Come on.
Bills win. Bills pull the upset on Sunday Night Football. Again, battle of number 1 versus number 3 in the PFF power rankings, which take into account more than just the first 4 games